everyone, my name is Zim Ahmadi. Welcome to the third episode of Keeping Tracks, where we talk to bands from across all genres, all across Malaysia. Today we have theatrical comedy big band Fazz!
Hello everybody, we are Fazz!
Hi, I'm Lynn, I'm the vocalist for the band.
I'm Art, hi, I play trumpet.
Hi, I'm Grace, I play the keyboard.
Joan drums.
Jason, trombone.
My name is Faro, I play the double bass.
I'm Ease, I play trumpet in Fazz.
Okay, alright, it's nice to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us, yeah!
You guys are probably the biggest band who's ever stepped foot into the office. We hope all of you are comfortable.
Yes.
We want to talk about Passage, right? An album that was recently released by you guys. We want to explore a little bit because you guys have been a band for about 6 years or so, but with other members maybe. Yeah. So I want to talk about that story from how you've evolved from the first EP up until Passage. Yeah. Anyone wants to start first?
Grace. I think Grace can tell us the story. I mean, Grace is our founder.
Well, Fazz started in 2012 and it was just the four of us, me, Farouk, and we had an ex-vocalist and the drummer. Before him, we had another drummer as well. So like you said, the members have changed since then. And four of us, we just wanted to do music out of experience actually. And the vocalist came up with a lot of ideas, and that's how we started making our own songs and came up with something we want to just share with the public.
Right.
And then called EP.
I see.
So those were the songs that we developed since 2012,
Right.
and then we wanted to do something to share, and we DIY'd everything from scratch, and they came up with the EP. Then after that, due to some circumstances, vocalist had to leave, and also drummer John came into our picture as well.
Stolen from a different band.
Yeah. Okay, fine. And then in the midst of finding a vocalist for our band, and then Lynn joined us, thankfully, and then Art and East and Jason also joined us.
So I'm assuming that because so many members have changed hands like over and over again, you guys have evolved in terms of musical direction a lot as well. Is it a drastic evolution from the first EP up until Passage? From the self-title, do you think?
Well, one of the most drastic one. We used to have a singer with balls. Now we have singer with bigger cojones.
That's a like genre. Ability.
No, mainly before this we had a male singer singing, and it's from his perspective.
I see.
And now Lynn came into the picture and tried to fit into that because most of the interpretation is based on a guy point of view,
right.
And trying to find a place to sit in there, and eventually, you know what, let's just write something ourselves. And Lynn actually wrote up a tune as well for that. Well, currently became our single,
right.
Cheshire Cat, and that became more of like a drastic change in terms of musical direction of how we carry the tune now.
I see.
Because it's very driven, it's very story based.
Right. So is there an overlying theme in terms of story in Passage? Is there like a narrative from first song to the last song?
We hope we could. Actually, maybe we should consider doing a concept album soon. I think it'll be very fun.
But for the Passage album, how we organize the list of the songs is to tell the story. So when you listen from top to bottom without picking the tracks one by one, you can actually hear what's going on from top to bottom.
Right.
Yeah, but then it is a mixture of what we have done before and the new tunes that we recently created. Yeah. But throughout the journey, of course, there was a transition that we needed to adapt to because of the member change in the music direction here and there. So it took us for some time. It was a quite slow process, and also because we need to build up a new chemistry among us.
Yeah.
So that took quite some time, and as to find out, we are still on the journey of finding out our music direction.
Right.
But we are exploring more and experimenting more stuff. Yeah.
So Passage is a metaphor for that, like you find
transition
to transition. I see. So I'm curious about the single Cheshire Cat because I feel like it's one of the most interesting songs from the album. Are you guys huge fans of Alice in Wonderland? What is the concept behind that single?
Lynn.
Basically, it just happened such when we wrote that song, we didn't really target that Wonderland concept.
Right.
It was just, I guess it's what we face, or what I face personally, going through this limbo and not knowing what's coming up next. There's so much of complexity of emotions and state of mind, and it's just like, oh. And I think it's nice to be able to embrace that within ourselves, because we don't really talk about that. Like, I think especially as artists, we go through roller coasters that we don't, journeys that we don't really share with everybody else. Right. And I think this song is to embrace yourself and embrace what you go through, what you went through, and about being crazy or like a really cuckoo, like, hi, I'm cuckoo. It's that kind of song where you sing and release and you accept yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You see, what about Valhalla? Any of you Vikings, Norse worshippers?
No. Well, generally, the story of Valhalla was actually conceived for the GE13 actually.
And now it's appointing now.
Now the point is out.
Still relevant.
Still relevant. The new one's coming out. So the idea behind Valhalla is like, we're sharing a story about how basically during the Norse mythology we have this metaphor that people want to go to Valhalla because it's being it became like heaven, the place to be, the place that you want to go.
Yeah.
But eventually throughout the story we talk about how about a tale of people wandering in the desert for being alive. Actually, it's about a story of, even in Valhalla, it might not be as pretty as it seems. So generally, it's a story about, no matter how people say it, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
It might not actually be true.
Right. But there was no deliberate decision as to why you chose the Norse mythology. Is it because it's the most distant?
Well, we wanted to name it Sugar. We don't want to be called a Nasheed band. We want to call it Heaven and Hell. We don't want to be known as a Hillsong band. I guess Valhalla would be an interesting take because I don't see anybody doing anything with that. The only team like bands that I know that do Valhalla as a contact is either those Swedish metal band kind of stuff, going around singing Valhalla, and like making things a bit different. So I guess as a point, that was the team behind the arrangement behind the music as well, giving a flow like a Valkyrie flying around. And who would have known years later suddenly Thor start coming out and be like, oh.
Right. No, it's a very eclectic album, right? There's so many influences in it. Like I've heard that when it comes to songs like Blame, you guys have electro swing influences from Caravan Palace. So how did you gather all these influences together? How do you arrange everything into such a cohesive direction?
I think it's also because all of us, we have different backgrounds.
Right.
Yeah, we like different music. And then when it comes to band, we will love to collect ideas from where you are coming from and how did you come up with the story and all. And of course, Farouk is a music arranger of the band, and he does collect all our ideas and he see where the music can go about. And he's also influenced by his own favorite artists and all. So that's where the arrangement comes. So it can be everywhere, but we have our core sounds throughout the album.
Right. Can we do it, because we like to do this with big bands, right? Can we do a little bit of like a roll call as to what your influences are and how you end up in the mix salad? So let's start with Is, maybe. What is your influence? Like when you play the trumpet?
You love this band called Budak Nakal.
Is Budak Nakal your main influence? Budak Nakal just in front?
No, I think I'm okay with anything. Yeah, I just maybe I have like preferences. Maybe like funk. I love funk. I love R&B, blues. That's like my base. Yeah. And I sort of can go with anything after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Farouk?
I am I'm hugely influenced by music that's rather unique in terms of arrangement. Because I love what's going on radio because I'm a sucker. My guilty pleasure is all this pop song. Like my most guilty pleasure recently is definitely Katy Perry, Shake It Off.
Right.
I just love the song, the melody, and everything. But I love unique arrangements, things that we don't usually generally see on stage so much. So what I do is generally get our big bands, and rather than just sitting at the side playing horns, I get them to run around and do crazy stuff because that's why I felt what we do best, expressing. So I like song that has a lot of expression. Yeah, you have dynamic that goes like this and crazy just go up and back down. Right. One such influence is probably Dream Theater, where I got a lot of my influence from. I know we don't play metal.
We keep going back to metal, huh? Yeah. Swedish metal, Dream Theater.
It's coming out here. I can't hide this.
What about you, Jason?
Oh, me
Die.
Jason has a huge library when
Yeah.
it comes to music. Yeah.
What are you listening to now? If you have such a huge library.
Just listening to a lot of hip hop stuff, a lot of new, so usually more towards a bit laid back stuff. And
Right.
I usually listen to Rupert Glasper, Kendrick Lamar kind of stuff.
Right. You say neo soul, so like Kamasi Washington,
Yes.
Spirited.
Yes,
kind of
Kendrick
stuff,
Lamar, a lot of stuff. And this, like Tom Mitch, FKJ, the kind of stuff,
Cool.
everything I listen to.
What about you, Joe? What influences your drumming?
Punk rock! Punk rock! I think you love an honest mistake.
That was the past. I don't know. I was born in like early 90s, so I only had.
Hey,
I was only aware of music early 90s. So I only had like what Backstreet Boys, Michael Jackson, and NSYNC. All those people. Yeah. I mean, I just write along whatever was trending. I don't have like any particular like band or anything.
Right.
But whatever comes, I just listen to.
Right. That includes meme songs as well, like.
Yeah, correct. That's why we play it sometimes.
Grace.
Me, I'm from a classical background, and also I used to listen to a lot of Korean old ballad songs. So I'm very, very huge fan of all this musical melody and arrangement when it comes to ballad.
Right.
And also, I listen to quite a lot of hymns, like church songs,
Yeah.
mainly because they have certain way of expressing themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I also listen to some of them. And with this band, I learn a lot from each members to learn different kinds of music.
Right.
For Jason, I learned to open my eyes to hip hop, to be honest. Yeah, and then to Ease and Art, to different kinds of a big band or
Yeah.
certain artists, they have a really specific tone to deliver. Yeah, and the Lin and Farouk, mostly Japanese influenced music.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
So
I
yeah,
see.
I learn a lot from the band members.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Do you teach them about classical music, or do they already know everything? Like, is it a mutual?
It's a
relationship?
different way of teaching or learn from each other. So I
Right,
wouldn't go
right.
and like, you should do this, you should do that.
I see.
So we understand each other, and maybe like father will come up to me and say, Grace, maybe you can use a bit of a classical approach here. Then we're like, okay, how about this, how about that? Then he will tell me what to do, then I will try to adapt to the style.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, for
Anwazin.
me, I think I love Chinese pop.
What is all this thing we're hearing from him today? What is this? Oh my god!
Okay, but nothing like
Amani Rosa.
I thought you like Malay pop. I love it. I mean, I love music, but
Ni kawan kau ke ni?
I think I like music that like can give you like sexy mood, like
Right.
Mami
Sam,
let's go.
Dude, Chinese pop song is all sad, man. What do you mean?
Nasib macam mana? Nasib lagi.
like soft jazz.
I see.
Like that, and some, of course I love
Songs that make you feel
Yeah.
sexy or
Right,
song
right,
that makes
romance.
money? Which one is
so
this?
good.
So making music to like woo to inside
Get the
romance.
girls.
Oh.
Mars.
I
Can't
see.
say chocolates.
Right. Okay,
Ladies.
lastly but not least, Lynn. What is your influence?
Me, I've been in touch with musical theatre a lot this years, and I think what I bring into the band is the theatre kind of aspect, bringing in acting. But I love to listen to lots of genres as well. I don't really tie myself. Today I want to do kopi. Today I want to do teh. The other day I want to do ice cream. So it really depends on the mood.
Right, right.
And I like this a particular sound that what I like about a sound is how fluent someone can express themselves from the sound. So it's really how they translate their language into music that I'd
I
like
see.
to always see. Like Japanese music, they have this very submissive and oppressive sound that they sing on top of this cheerful tone. Like,
Right. It's all very ironic and dark.
Yes,
right,
yes,
right.
yes, yeah. And this band loves irony. the context and the concept of
Right,
it,
right.
yeah.
It's very timely that you mentioned theatre because the word theatrical keeps popping up a lot in all interviews with Fazz. Like, we're a theatrical band.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering to what extent is that theatre, right? Because you guys wear costumes, you guys have makeup. Do you play a character on stage, or is it more like this costume looks nice, miss? It's a theme.
I think back then we call it theatrical pop and stuff. I think it was just a matter of us growing up. I think we were confused. No, we really have no, because one of these questions that all these pop song people go for interview with us is asking us, what kind of genre do you guys play? And we really have no idea what we can say that, because most of the time we represent it as our stage presentation, and we felt that we can't call it like a presentation jazz or it just doesn't work unless we're going there with a PowerPoint and stuff. That's a presentation.
Right.
Then theatre probably is the closest thing. But back then, before Lynn joined us, we weren't really so much into what theatre is. We were just full of showmanship or probably entertaining aspect on stage. It's like watching Earth, Wind and Fire. It's all about stage ethic, doing all those stage move stuff. And it was only when art joining, the horn section joined together, rather than sitting in as just horn section playing a brass band, they actually put curation, they curate their move, they choreograph. And it felt that it became more of like a show band kind of context. But theatrical has always been our direction to look at, you check out this visual, check out this video, and this is how they played this part. Or we try to replicate that because of the changes that we like to put in the song.
And it's also the feedback we have been receiving from our audience.
Right.
Yeah, they do tell us that whenever they do or watch our shows, it does look like as if they're watching a show, not just a band performing. Yeah, so we had no idea what to call ourselves when it comes to genre. So we just stuck to theatrical pop for a while. Just to make people understand what we are.
Right.
But that doesn't really define everything about us.
Because you don't want to put yourself in a box as well. You guys are a lot of things at once. But I'm curious because in your album artwork, you all have like that costume thing going on. So it has like a bit of a minstrel, traveling troubadour vibe, right? So if you could like put that in if you could put your music in another musical form, like let's say film scoring or like Broadway musicals or plays, would you be interested in that? Or is Fazz just an album making band?
For me, strictly, I'm pretty. I'm quite simple. I just want to write music and present it on stage. But a couple of months before this, we've been approached by some people who want to take our song, put it inside movies, and we were also. I think Valhalla was one of the songs that's been considered to a horror movie that's going to come up. That's was it Witch or Valhalla? Witch going to be part of a very horror movie that's coming up from a Japanese director as well.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and we're like, okay, it's great. It's not that we don't want it, but we don't know where we position ourselves in that field.
I see.
But should the opportunity arise, I don't think we would say no to it.
I mean, we want to see how far our music can go.
Yeah,
it can go anywhere.
Right.
And then we are not like defining ourselves at this point like specifically. So it's also time for us to see where we can go with our music direction.
But as an art direction, I think what we want to do is Fazz with our music is definitely to tell people that if you recall back in the 90s, we used to have this channel that like Channel V, they have this thing that called alternative music. And I think that's a term that's been missing throughout industry, because nowadays pop is not actually just what we hear in radio. Pop is generally what's in the top 40s. Nowadays hip hop is pop, or was it dance, or like techno is pop. But back then, even the Backstreet Boys was famous, but Foo Fighters can still be in the top 10.
Right.
And there's still rock there, and we wanted to we would like to bring back the alternative pop context, where we want to be in the pop scene, but not exactly playing techno or exactly what people hear on the radio. It's not that we don't like it. That's not our direction.
Right.
But we want to present to people, hey, I know you like Kendrick Lamar stuff, but alternatively, we have Fazz.
So it's about succeeding in your own way, like not
pretty much
not going to the mainstream mold, but creating your own passage for your own genre, right?
Because I think whatever we do is quite mainstream as well. It's probably not as mainstream as we want it to be, but hey, it takes time.
Yeah, you can't call it indie.
Yeah,
right?
can't call it indie, definitely. It's so sad. Even, I see people calling us, you're jazz. And then we go to a jazz gig. You go to play jazz. Go to your indie gig. You go to the indie gig. You guys sound so jazz. Go play in a jazz gig. Be like, where do we go?
Right. It's funny, we're talking about concert venues and how you guys are a performing band, right? Like, pretty sure you guys have toured at so many places, performed at so many concerts. Any memorable tour stories you want to share? Memorable performances?
A lot. Involving mainly how we acted when we are hungry. How...
What does that mean? Like hunger, rage? Like...
yeah, hangry when we... Or in other terms, I mean, we have a lot of stories. I think everyone can actually share a bit of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lynn,
I guess
what
maybe,
stories do you have?
Okay.
Mine that's on top of my head was that experience when we performed in Kyoto. When the cops came up and said, Rusai! Yes, the cops came up, we were too loud because it's a small performance space, it's actually a bar.
Yeah.
And we were so loud that the cops came out, he shouted at us, and then the owner said, it's okay, just continue. And then we just, fuck it, we're gonna go to house. But that was a very good experience, like I never thought it would happen of all places in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't see people screaming too much in Japan towards us, everything, especially towards foreign stuff. They're very soft spoken. So you see a police just opening the door, just like, oh.
He was mad.
Yeah, he was
Was
mad.
it just one or like did
Yeah,
you send a
it was
whole squad?
Oh, just one.
right,
Just one,
right.
yeah.
It was not enough to stop us, though. It was not enough to stop us for
Yeah.
sure.
I see.
Yeah, but
was-
everyone was happy that
Yeah, with all
It was packed. I mean, it was like small bar, but it was packed, and we were like, because we needed to, we playing, and we actually had to rush off because we had to catch the last train.
yeah.
And they're like, that song game, all that. You guys are crazy. And it's a bar filled with expats, right?
Yes, that's right.
Frenchmen. There are like people from the States. There are barely any Japanese in that bar.
Yeah, that's
Right,
true.
right.
In the heart of Kyoto, we're like, what is this place?
All this is very metal, very punk. Like screw the authorities.
Rebel to the core.
Right. Anything else? Any other stories maybe?
Come on, I have some love story to share.
Any memorable clothes?
You can put like symbol down there. Put there at what's your Instagram handle again? Follow him at.
I think everything is like since first time I joined Fazz, I think everything is like become like how am I supposed to say this, like
I don't know, man. You sound politically
Every
correct.
every
You sound too safe right now.
very memorable to me. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's such a sentimental answer.
I think his most memorable tour story is like 2 days before tour or 3 days before tour, he had a car accident.
Oh,
Both of them.
what? In the same car, like
Yeah, we were going to the last rehearsal
Right.
for the Japan tour last year, right? So I was just recovering from fever, and he was I was driving.
Right.
I was driving, and then suddenly I saw Art like panic. He's like he's like screaming. What's wrong? Then I realized the car was spinning. Yeah, the car was
So it's
spinning
on the highway.
in the highway. Then we crashed.
Right,
Then I straight
right.
called the band members because we were going to the rehearsal. And I told them we met an accident. Then the rehearsal was cancelled.
Nothing happened to us.
Yeah,
I see.
luckily
not
we
even a
just
scratch, is it?
yeah
but,
just
the car is totally
it's a wreck.
Right. But you guys made it to Kyoto, to Japan after.
Yeah,
I see.
luckily.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the scene again, just to continue from what you said about alternative music, right? I noticed that even though your music is very Western influenced, sometimes you stop your performances for some joget time. Like, do you think it's important to incorporate a Malaysian identity in the music of Fazz?
Especially when we go outside of Malaysia, I think that's a very important thing that we should do. I mean, it's one thing for us to not be able to, at the moment, to curate anything in Bahasa, although it is a very important language for us in Malaysia. I would love to one day, one of my dreams is actually to play in an international stage,
Right.
to perform a full set of Bahasa Malaysia language song. Because my dream has always been to follow, because I've always followed what our senior musician back in the past. I've always read stories from band in the past and see their stories and how it influenced me. That's always my dream. Like one of it was when Sudirman himself was playing for a show in London.
Right.
He was representing Malaysia for a particular show. He was doing a whole full set of Bahasa Malaysia, and once it was done, people were shouting for encore. And he just replied back, if you want to hear more, come to my country, I'll show you my hospitality. And that's always been my dream, something that I have not been able to achieve yet with my band Fazz. It's something that I want to be able to do on the international stage. Push out for encore. Honestly, we don't have enough song, but come to my country, we'll show you our hospitality. And I believe we're Malaysian. I mean, as much as rowdy as we are, when it comes to foreigners coming over to the country, we're actually very very nice. We're very kind to people. We get people to come, sopan santun. It's like our culture, you know. I mean, budi bahasa, budaya kita. It's like that's like man maketh man kind of stuff. But for us, it's not really about man. It's all about being soft-spoken with how we speak to people. And I believe all this joget stuff is fun, not rowdy. It's not like kuda kepang.
Yeah.
But doing it internationally and getting them to dance with it is actually quite fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think it's very important for us to do that here as well. We generally consider that as putting a gimmick on stage, but
if the gimmick works,
yeah,
like why not, right? Do you have any festival that you wish you could play at, or anyone you want to collaborate with?
For the third year in a row, we have failed because we've been getting requests to play for this particular festival, but we have. I think it's just not our rezeki lah, not the right time. This is like I think the third year we've been 2 years in a row we cancelled playing for that particular festival. What's the festival called again? Summer Sonic, Japan.
Okay.
So we couldn't go for it. I mean, it's better to be happy as a band rather than to kill each other to play a festival that you might not even. I mean, for us, our future, we have to work at it together. So Summer Sonic is probably something in the future that we want to go to again. Let's talk about local festival, because local festival they don't actually call us so much. Yeah, maybe I don't think
we'll
people.
Just plug that in later. Call Fazz.
I don't think people in Malaysia know Fazz exists. Probably.
I want us to travel to outside of this KL zone.
Yeah, they do a Malaysia
East,
tour.
East Malaysia, KK, all these areas to see that. I'm sure the people there, they're also different to receive our music.
Definitely, yeah.
So I want to see how far we can go with the audience, and then what we can do there as well. And I'm sure there are festivals being held there as well.
What about bands to collaborate with? Like anyone that you feel you share a musical soul?
I would love to open for Caravan Palace, honestly.
Right.
I'm sure Lynn would love to collaborate together with Bjork.
Oh wow! That would be amazing.
That's too powerful. I love her.
I get Bjork vibes from you too. Not surprised. Anyone else? Collaborations?
Nihom.
Actually, I would love to collab together with No from Hujan. Actually,
Right.
I actually love his style, his songwriting. It's actually interesting. Maybe we should actually make that happen. Should we?
Yeah.
Of
course. And if we have chance, it would be nice to collaborate with a theatrical production. Yeah, because our story is a very story kind of telling direction.
Yeah.
So that's personally what I've always wanted to do. Like make a story out of all our songs, and then have all those actors and actresses acting out our stories, and we play as well. Yeah.
Queen and ABBA did it, but after their 10th album onwards. 9
10
albums to go.
albums first,
9 albums to go. We can do this.
Alright, thank you guys. It was great talking to all of
Thank
you. Alright guys, that was Fazz. Remember they have their album out called Passage. It's currently out in record stores like Speedy and Rock Corner. Make sure you listen to their album as soon as possible. My name is Imam Mahdi. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Bye.